everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lottie and today I'm doing my very final book haul of 2022. I've had a tea Maria coffee and not a lot to eat today, so I'm a little bit woo. But yes, today I'm doing my final book haul of 2022. Originally this was just going to be a what I got for Christmas book haul, and then I realised I haven't done a haul since August, or I think it was September. So these are the books that I've gotten since then, apart from the little mini Orbit sale haul I did more recently. So I think this is everything that I've gotten since that last big book haul. I did stop tracking them on my spreadsheet at some point because, well, I just stopped caring, to be honest. I got to a point in the year I was like, I just don't give a shit anymore and I'm ready to start fresh in a new spreadsheet in 2023. This should be everything I've gotten over the last few months. There might be a few things that I've forgotten to throw in. In fact, I've just seen one that I was looking at and I'm gonna go get it for you. Okay, that should be everything now, right? I hope so. If there's anything I've forgotten and you see it crop up on my channel at some point in the future, like whatever, you will have seen all of the TBR books as well in my entire physical TBR video. I haven't really thought much about how I'm going to do this because I had a stack of books that I got for Christmas and when I went shopping just after Christmas, and then I realised I have more that I need to talk about, so I don't really know how I'm going to do this. Let's just start with book box books. So first we've got Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young, which was the September Fairy Loot adult book, and this is an absolutely stunning edition. I have never heard of this book before. I usually try to check what the book is going to be in my book boxes before I get it so that I can skip it if I want to, if I'm not that interested in the book. And I didn't really know much about what this is going to be about, but as far as I'm aware from like having read the synopsis originally, it gives me kind of witchy Twilight vibes and I'm very intrigued by that. I absolutely love the sprayed edges on it as well, which I think is what gives me the like Twilight vibes. It's just so gorgeous and I think it is a kind of witchy romance. I'm very interested in reading this. I would like to try and get to it relatively soon because I've been getting Fairy Loot Adult and I haven't read any of the books for that yet. Then we have the November Fairy Loot Adult. I ended up skipping October's book because I wasn't very interested in it, and it is A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and this I think was originally indie published and then it was picked up by a publisher, and this is like the new edition of it. So this is a kind of historical fantasy, I think, about Dracula's brides, and in particular one of his brides who, like, I think they marry him and then they find out he's not a very good guy, and there is like a sapphic romance in there as well. I really love this edition as well. It has beautiful sprayed edges, as with like all the Fairy Loots as well. Like it's got like cool under the dust jacket stuff. So this one is a printed hardback, which I'm actually really loving it recently, and then we've got like these really cool end papers as well. This is a very gorgeous one as well. I'm very interested in reading this. I love vampire stories, and especially because it's sapphic as well, like that just kind of makes me even more intrigued. And then the last Fairy Loot of the year was December's book, and that is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and this one is by Heather Fawcett. This is another one that I'd never heard of before, but I was very interested when I read the synopsis for it. Can't really remember what it's about, but I think it's a historical fantasy about fae, essentially. I try not to like read blurbs so that I can give you guys a description because I like to be surprised when I go into a book and not really know too much about it. So that's why usually when I'm talking about books I've not read before to you guys, like I can't really give you a description of it because I just don't know what it's about. But yeah, I really like this edition. Like I can't remember what the like normal edition looks like. I don't think there's too many differences, but I really like this purple foiling, and this is another one that has a printed hardback as well, and I just love that the naked hardback does kind of look like an encyclopedia. I would be very happy to just display this with no dust jacket. And there's some of the end pages as well. I feel bad that I didn't show you Spells for Forgetting, but I'm not going to go back to it. But yeah, again, this is another one that I'm very interested to read. I'm skipping January's book, so I'm hoping that gives me a little bit of leg room to catch up a little bit because I do really want to start getting into these Fairy Loot books. So then we've got the Afterlight book for November. Now Afterlight was quarterly and it's going to be bi-monthly from 2023, and that's another one that I'm skipping for January. So this was the November book, which is Make You Mine This Christmas by Lizzie Huxley Jones. This was a Christmas rom-com, very reminiscent of like the holiday and other early noughties rom-coms. I really enjoyed it. There's nothing really special about this edition. This tends to be the case with Afterlight, where they kind of just have the same cover but maybe a little bit of a different colour scheme. I also really don't like that they're hardbacks. I really don't like that they're hardbacks. I don't want a romance to be hardback, and originally Afterlight was going to be paperbacks, and I kind of wish that they'd stuck with that. I'm going to see how I get on in 2023 with Afterlight. I'm already skipping January's and it's going to be bi-monthly now, so I feel a little bit more like I can skip it, because I could still sort of get it quarterly essentially if I skip it enough. I mean, I've enjoyed the books that have come in Afterlight since I've been a subscriber, but the stuff that comes in it I just think is just a waste of money, and I kind of don't care about special editions for these romances, so I'm kind of thinking I might just cancel my subscription. We'll see. I might do a like, is Afterlight worth my money type vlog series for next year, but I'm already skipping January's box, so that says everything you need to know. At least it's saving me a bit of money. But this was a nice surprise. I've never read a Christmas book before, and this was quite a nice surprise. But yeah, there's nothing really that special about the edition. It's got a different colour scheme and it's got foiling on it. But I think this was the first physical edition of this book. I think it was only published electronically in 2022. So this is the first physical edition of it. And you know what? It was alright. It was just alright. So another book box book, but it didn't come in a box. I paid for it like as an add-on type thing. Is Ashley Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake, which is the second book in the Bright Falls series, the first one being Delilah Green Doesn't Care. So I got this because I really enjoyed Delilah Green, and I wanted like a matching edition. I believe there's one more book to come, and I hope Illumicrate does a special edition for that as well. So Delilah Green Doesn't Care was the February book, I think, for Afterlight, and then this came out in November, and I actually quite like this edition. It's just got a bright blue sprayed edge and like a pale pink cover. It makes me think of the trans flower. I've not read the book yet, so I don't know if there is a trans character in it, but I think it would be like the icing on the cake if there was a trans character in it. But the first one, Delilah Green, has a sapphic relationship, and I think this is also another sapphic relationship. I think all of the books in this kind of trilogy are going to be sapphic relationships, and there's always been like a lesbian character and a bisexual character. I don't know if that's going to be a recurring theme throughout all of the books, but as far as I'm aware, Astrid Parker, she was not visibly queer in the first book, and obviously this is going to be about her and it's going to be a queer relationship, so I'm guessing it's kind of a coming out story about her bisexuality or pansexuality, I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to reading this. I loved the first book, and it was like one of the first sapphic romances that I'd ever read, and I'm really looking forward to reading more. And then my last book box book is Shipwrecked by Olivia Dade, and this was like another bonus type thing. So this is the third book in the spoiler alert trilogy. The first one, spoiler alert, came in the November 2021 box. No, that's a lie. The second book, All the Feels, came in the November 2021 box, and I had an add-on for the first book, spoiler alert. So when Illumicrate announced that they were doing a special edition of Shipwrecked, which is the last book, I was very excited because I really wanted a matching edition to go with the other two on my shelves. I loved this series. I loved it so much, especially spoiler alert, and I'm really looking forward to getting to Shipwrecked. Spoiler alert kind of follows a fan of a series, and she dates an actor in this series, and then the second book is also following an actor from the series, and so I'm guessing the third one is they're going to follow another actor from this TV show and like a normal person. But I think the difference with this book is that the actor in the show that is kind of central to the trilogy is actually going to be a woman, so we kind of have a little bit of that role reversal where the famous person is a lady. But I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. Again, it's just like a standard hardback with a sprayed edge, which is another reason why I'm considering cancelling Afterlight, because this kind of tends to be how it is with our Afterlight special editions. It's like a hardback with a sprayed edge and a digital signature, and I'm just a bit like, what is the point? Like, it doesn't feel like it's worth it to me. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to this book, and I'm kind of glad that I do have like a matching edition, which is one of the only reasons why I bought it, so I could have a matching edition. But yeah, I am looking forward to reading this. So I guess kind of keeping with the special editions, I have the new Waterstones editions of the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy to show you guys. Obviously these are for Waterstones, they didn't come in any of those book box subscription things, but I really want to read the Plated Prisoner series, and it's recently been picked up by a traditional publisher. So Waterstones have done these special editions, and I think these are going to be the new standard covers. I'm not 100% sure, or these could be like special covers, but basically I just saw these on Waterstones back in the summer, and I was debating whether or not to order them because I've not read this series. I just don't know if I'm going to like it. But then I decided to say fuck it, and I bought them all. So I have the first 4 books and I've got the last one pre-ordered because that's going to come out in 2023. And so with these special editions, they have this gorgeous like new hardback cover. They all have like a spine that kind of connects as well. I'm not going to hold them all up for you guys at the same time and show you the spine because they're really, really heavy. I love these covers. They've got these yellow sprayed edges. I just hit myself in the face. There's nothing like special under the dust jacket, but it is like a really nice white hardcover with this really pretty foiling on the spine. And then the thing that kind of puts the icing on the cake for me is they're all signed. They are all signed by Raven Kennedy and it's a proper signature. And I'm someone who does like signed books. I've never been to a signing before and it's something I really, really want to do. I really want to meet like my favorite authors and have them sign my books in front of me, but like just buying a book that's already been signed and actually signed, not just printed in the book like the Afterlight ones. It just makes it a little bit more special. The only one that isn't signed is Glow, and that's just the standard edition. It does match with the rest of them obviously, as you can tell, but because I missed the pre-order for Glow, the signed sprayed edge edition had already run out, but these were pre-orders. These came out in November, the first 3 books, and then the last one I think is called Gold is coming out next year. I just love these editions. I think they're gorgeous, and I figured if I don't like the series, which I think is really unlikely, I can just sell them as a set. I have missed out on like nice editions of books because I've not read the series yet, and then I've been like, well, I don't want to buy it in case I don't like it and it's a waste of money. But if I'm like positive I'm going to enjoy a book, I just need to say fuck it and buy it. So yeah, these are absolutely stunning editions of the Plated Prisoner series. So yeah, the first 3 are signed. I will show you Glint and Gleam in a moment as well, but yeah, this one is Guild, which is the first book, and then this one is Glint. So they kind of all have the same sort of theme on the cover and the spine, but there is like a cage here that kind of opens and there is like a bird flying out of it as well, which I'm guessing is something to do with the series itself. And then this one is Gleam. And yeah, then finally we have Glow. So I'm very excited to see what Gold is going to look like when that eventually comes out in 2023. Okay, so I'm now going to talk you through some of the books that I have been given as gifts very kindly from several booktube people. So the first one I've got here is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, and this was given to me by Shell from Spoops' Discord. She sent me this because we were supposed to do a meetup in Manchester for Spoops patrons, and kind of everybody cancelled at the last minute, and I said I was still going to go because I'd already paid for my train ticket and I thought I could have a really nice day out in Manchester. So Shell sent me this to say like, I hope you had a nice day anyway, and like I'm sorry like nobody else could go. I ended up not going. I woke up in the morning to go and catch my train and I just couldn't face the day. I was like, because I had set train times, I was like, I just don't want to go and have to spend all day by myself in an unfamiliar place, especially because the weather was really horrible as well. So I ended up not going anyway, but Shell sent me this as a kind of compensation. It was so kind of her, so thank you so much, Shell. Like, you really did not have to do this. But I'm really excited to read this book. It's like a cozy fantasy. Everyone has raved about it. I did have an e-arc of it from the author and I just never got a chance to read it, and then it was picked up by Tor and now it's traditionally published. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this book. It's going to be on my January and February TBR, so I'm definitely going to get to it very soon. But thank you so much, Shell. Like when this arrived, I was like, what the heck, like I haven't ordered anything, and I saw that it was from Shell and I was just like, it made me cry. So thank you again, Shell. I'm really looking forward to reading this. So the next 2 books are from Vicky, who I kind of met through Spoops' Patreon Discord. So Vicky has been unholding a lot of her books recently because she has a shit ton, and every so often she puts pictures in Spoops' Discord and says like, does anybody want these? She messaged me one day and was like, I've seen that Fairest of All by Serena Valentino is on your wish list. I have the first 3 books in that series, like would you like me to send them to you for free? And she did. So thank you, Vicky. Like, it was a really big surprise as well. I'm pretty sure I've got a few more books that I've like asked for Vicky to send me as well. She never asked for anything for them either, which is so kind of her. Like, I would happily give her some money towards them, but she's like, I don't care, I just need to get rid of them. I have the first 2 books in the Disney's Villains series, I think that it's called. So the first one is Fairest of All, which is about the Wicked Queen in Snow White, and then we've got The Beast Within, which is about the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and the last one I've got here is Poor Unfortunate Soul, which is about Ursula, and these are all by Serena Valentino. There are several other ones about different villains in like Disney movies. I just love Disney, so I really want to read books about Disney characters, and they're super short, so I should lie through these when I eventually get to them. I'm hoping to collect all of them at some point as well. But yeah, thank you so much, Vicky, for sending me these. I can't wait to read them. And then another book that Vicky sent me completely out of the blue is The Tea Dragon Society, which is by Katie O'Neill. And Vicky sent me this when I had COVID, and she was like, just a little something to cheer you up, which again is so kind. So this is a tiny little graphic novel about tea dragons. I've seen this raved about on booktube, which is why I put it on my wish list, and I would really like to get to it. I feel like it's going to be the perfect comfort read. I'm hoping to save it for like a rainy day, but there is quite a few in the series now. I think there's maybe 3 of them, and they're all super short. They're kind of like a middle grade thing. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that they're picture books rather than like a graphic novel, but they're a little bit more complicated than your standard picture book. This is me going off into like library mode of like what books are classified as. But I'm super excited to read this. It's going to be so cute. The artwork is absolutely adorable. So Vicky, like, stop sending me stuff, okay? Contributing to my huge TBR, but thank you. And these next few books were also gifts that I got from my Christmas gift exchanges. So I am in Spoops' Patreon Discord and Rose Patreon Discord, and every year they do a Christmas Secret Santa gift exchange where you kind of all get your names thrown into a pot, and then you're drawn a random person to buy a book for, and we usually use Amazon wishlist to do that. So I got some books from both of those gift exchanges. So the first one I believe was from Rose Exchange, and it is Middle Game by Shauna Maguire, which I'm super excited to read. I love the Way with Children series. I have a whole bunch of Mara Grant books that I need to read as well, and yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about this. And because as well, like, this was so appropriate because Ro loves Shauna Maguire as well, so it's so appropriate. It was like for Ro's Patreon gift exchange. However, I don't know who bought me this. I did get the gift note, but it just says from Secret Santa. Nobody has owned up to it. Nobody has owned up to say, oh yeah, it was me, I was your Secret Santa. If you're watching this, please reveal yourself, because I would like to thank you properly. But I'm really looking forward to reading this. I know that the sequel has already come out as well, and I was hoping to read this at the time of release and I never got around to it. But this is definitely something I'm hoping to get to in 2023 because I am very excited about it. Like, I have been wanting to read it for so long. It's kind of a weird, like, sci-fi fantasy thing. I don't entirely understand what the plot is, but I know it's about twins and one of them is better with words and one of them's better with maths. Yeah, I don't know. And the last 4 were all sent to me by the same person, and they are 4 books that I needed for the Disney Twisted Tales series, and they were all sent to me by Dawn. And I believe this was Spoops' Patreon because Dawn is in that Patreon. Thank you so much, Dawn, for these 4 books. I wondered, like, I did have a few parcels and I wondered if like some random people had just sent me stuff. But these were all from Dawn for the Christmas gift exchange, and I could not believe she'd like spent that much money to get me gifts. So thank you, it was so kind of you. So I only have one more book that I need to get in this series, and that is Unbirthday, which is the Alice in Wonderland one. But these are basically twisted tales of Disney films. So we've got Go the Distance, which is a Hercules retelling. We've got What Once Was Mine, which is Tangled. I've got Straight On to Morning, which is Peter Pan, and So This Is Love, which is Cinderella. Yeah, I'm really excited to read these. They're all by different authors. Most of them are by Liz Braswell. There's also Jen Kalanita, who's written a few, and Elizabeth Lim as well. There is a bit of a reading order to these, but I think they are like standalone books as a part of the same sort of collection, so it doesn't matter what order I read them in, but I'm probably going to read them in publication order because I'm just like that. So I'm hoping to start this series in 2023 and see how I get on with them. I think they are meant to be middle grade, and because they're Disney as well, like, I kind of already know like the vibe. But if I don't enjoy them, obviously I'm going to end up unhauling quite a few because I now have the entire series almost. So I really hope that I like them. But yeah, I'm so excited to read these. I just think they look really cool as well, with the whole like foiling and then the mysterious silhouettes on the cover as well. Like, I just love the way that they look. But yeah, I'm very excited to read them. So thank you, Dawn. 4 books, it was so much. So the next few books I got in the HarperCollins sale. I can't remember what the sale was for. It might have been Black Friday, but they had money off. I don't know if it was quite half price books like Orbit has been doing, or if it was half price. It might have been half price, but I had to hold myself back with these because I definitely could have gone overboard. So first of all, I have the Alice Oseman collection, which is the 4 novels that Alice Oseman has written. We've got Solitaire, Radio Silence, I Was Born for This, and Loveless. Loveless I have already read. I got it from the library and I read it a couple of years ago now, but I've not read the first 3 books that Alice has written, so I really want to read them, and I'm super excited to have copies of them finally. I love Heartstopper and I really wanted to read Solitaire because Heartstopper was kind of inspired by Solitaire and like the characters in that. But yeah, I really wanted to read Solitaire and Alice's other books as well because I loved Loveless. It was one of my favourite books in 2020. I think I read it, god, that was so long ago now. Loved it, and I can't wait to read more from Alice Oseman. The next 2 are Royal Assassin and Assassin's Quest by Robin Harb, which are books 2 and 3 in the Farseer trilogy. I got the first book in a gift exchange. I can't remember which gift exchange it was now, who got it for me. I do still have the gift note, I just can't remember off the top of my head, but I do want to read this trilogy in 2023, so I figured it would be a good idea to get books 2 and 3 ready for that so that I can just kind of read them and carry on instead of having to wait around for myself to get the rest of the books in the series. This series, I pretty much, everything I know about it is from Becca in the Books when the Catch-Up Book Club were reading it for the Elder Lingalong. It's about a guy who is the bastard son of a prince. The prince abdicates, and then Fitz, who's the guy who's the son, like is trained up as an assassin for the royal court or something. I don't really know. I'm very much looking forward to reading these and seeing like what they're all about. And then the last 3 that I got in that sale are the final 3 books I needed for the School for Good and Evil series. So I have the first 3, this is the final 3, and they're kind of part of the same mini series within that wider series. They're called the Camelot years. We've got Quest for Glory, Crystal of Time, and One True King. And these are all by Simon Chinani. So yeah, these are the final 3 books in the School for Good and Evil series, which I really enjoyed the first book. I wasn't so sure on the second, so I'm really hoping that I like the third so that I can carry on and enjoy them. This is a middle grade fantasy series that's kind of all about fairy tales, and this, in every few years, this village, like 2 kids are stolen from it for the School for Good and the School for Evil. School for Evil trains up witches, the School for Good trains up princesses. It's a whole thing, but I really love the world in this and enjoy seeing like how the magic system works and everything, so I'm really interested to see what's going to happen next in the series. And yeah, I'm looking forward to carrying on, especially with these Camelot years. Like, I want to know what that's all about. Okay, so the last few books I bought just after Christmas as like a little Christmas present for myself, because I didn't ask for any books for Christmas, like from friends and family. I just like, I didn't really ask for anything, to be honest. I figured like I have enough books, I don't want to ask for more, but then I went book shopping anyway. So Waterstones was doing a like 50% off hardback sale. It didn't apply to all hardbacks, but I did manage to get a few half price. And then there was some other bits and bobs that I got as well. So first of all, I got Saga Volume 3 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is just the next volume of Saga that I needed to pick up. I've been meaning to pick it up for months, but every time I go into a bookstore it's like £15, and I just figure I can get it for a tenner off Amazon, so I just don't pick it up. But I really want to carry on with this series, especially since Volume 10 has come out now and I'm not ordering them off Amazon for cheaper, so I figured I may as well just pick it up where I can, especially because Volume 3 seems to be kind of hard to get a hold of. Like, whenever I go into a bookstore and they have Saga, Volume 3 never seems to be there. So I have Volume 3 now. Saga is a sci-fi series. It's about these 2 warring planets, and 2 people from each of those planets have a baby together, and it's completely forbidden, so they're being hunted down. I love this series. I'm very much looking forward to carrying on. This is another one that is on my January TBR, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next. Then I've got The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, which is the first book in the First Law series, and I picked this up because it is the January book for Catch-Up Book Club for the First Law along. I'm very much looking forward to joining in with. So I don't really know anything about this other than it's a grimdark fantasy. It's got this lovely like parchment texture on the book, and I just love feeling it. It just feels so satisfying, which sounds so weird. I don't really know much about what it's about. I'm probably going to have to read the blurb before I read the book, because I feel like I'm going to get very, very lost if I don't have a general idea of what's going to happen. but I don't have a synopsis for you guys. I just know it's a grimdark fantasy. I'm very much looking forward to joining in with Catch Up Book Club, and I hope I like it because I'd like to carry on with the series. I then also picked up the Hitchhikers Guide to the Galaxy trilogy of 4 by Douglas Adams, which is a bind up of the 4 books in the like Hitchhikers Guide to the Galaxy series. This is like a classic sci-fi series that I've been wanting to read for so long. I just never picked it up, and so this is a bind up of all 4 books in that series. So it looks chunky, but the books themselves aren't that long, so I will be hopefully making my way through this at some point. I'm going to log them on Goodreads and talk about them individually, like in TBRs and stuff. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I have to read this whole thing in a month. Like, I will read one book every so often because it's a bind up of the whole series. But it was very convenient that I found this bind up in WH Smith, because whenever I've seen the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books, it's never all of them, or it's only the first one, or it's only like the 3rd one or something like that. And I think there was an anniversary of the first book last year. I remember seeing lots of copies of it in the library, which is why I know that. I'm very glad that I've managed to get a bind up of the whole series, because it's just a lot more convenient to have all of them when I want to read them, instead of having to then source like the rest of the books, especially because in our library we've only got the first book, we don't have the rest. Again, I can't remember what it's about. Like, I have seen the film and I have a general idea of the story, but I can't remember. It's going to be a very nice surprise. I just know it's like a very famous classic sci-fi series, and it's very comical, and I'm very much looking forward to reading it and just experiencing the daftness of it all. So next, I also picked up the Merciless Ones by Namina Fauna, which is the sequel to the Gilded Ones, which I haven't read yet, but I wanted the sprayed edge edition because I have the sprayed edge edition of the Gilded Ones, and I really want to read it. I just haven't gotten around to it. I can't remember when I got the Gilded Ones now, but I've definitely had it for about 12 months, and it's about time I picked it up because the sequel has come out. All I really know, it's like a high fantasy young adult series, and I think in the first one it's like something to do with the colour of your blood, and this girl's blood runs gold. It means she's a witch or something, so they cast her out. I can't remember what the synopsis is, but I remember thinking that's so cool, and I haven't read it, like an idiot. So I picked up the second one like an idiot, even though I haven't read the first book, but I'm sure I'm going to love them. I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like it's going to have the same sort of vibes as Children of Blood and Bone, which I absolutely loved when that came out, but we still haven't got the 3rd book. But I really want to read this series because I feel like I'm really going to enjoy it. I also picked up The Book Eaters by Sonia Dean, which is a new book for 2022 that I really wanted to read when it came out. Yeah, so this is about a family or families who like consume stories, I think, and then this one family, there's like a child born into it who wants to eat people. I don't know. But I remember hearing the synopsis and the concept and I was like, that sounds awesome. And this has been raved about as far as I'm aware. So I'm really interested to see what it's all about. I think I'm going to really love it. It's kind of like a fantasy horror, and I'm so here for that. I also think that the cover looks so cool. Yeah, I really want to read it. I do really want to read it, so I'm hoping to get to this really soon. I also picked up Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. I was not intending to read this, and then Becca from Becca and the Books talked about it in a video recently. I think it was the one where she was tier ranking new releases. Because I'd heard about this book, I was intrigued by it, but I'd not heard anyone really rave about it, so I thought maybe it's one I'll just give a miss. And Becca was like, I really loved it, so that was what convinced me, because a lot of the books that Becca enjoys, I really enjoy as well, which is why I always bring her up in videos, because I have a very similar reading taste to her. Don't really know much about this other than it's about witches, and it's like meant to be posing as the tax office because it's HMRC, but really it's like a witch coven. But the way Becca talked about it in that tier ranking video made me really intrigued by the story, so I'm very interested in it. I've kind of had Juno Dawson on the radar for quite a while because she's written quite a lot of young adult books, but I think this is her very first adult book. Because it's fantasy, I'm very interested by it, and the second one comes out in 2023, so I'm hoping to get to this soon so that I can pick up book 2. I'm so very nearly at the end. Okay, so the last 2 books I'm just going to talk about together because they're part of the same series, and it's the first 2 books in the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare. So we've got Lady Midnight and Lord of Shadows here, but these are the really fancy anniversary editions. I fully did not intend to get these really fancy editions. I went into Waterstones hoping to find a paperback of the first book so that I could read it for January for By the Angel Along, and they only had a paperback of Lord of Shadows. They did have both of these, and I was like, I don't want to get the anniversary editions because I don't want these big hardbacks that don't particularly match my paperbacks for the rest of the Shadowhunters books. But then I also thought, well, you only live once. So I got them. But I don't think that the third one is out yet. I think that this anniversary edition only came out last year and at the end of the year, and I need Queen of Air and Darkness for March. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm hoping I can borrow a copy from the library because I'm not gonna buy a paperback that doesn't match these two specifically to read it for the read along. I just think these look so cool. I think they look so cool. But yeah, I love the Shadowhunters books. Thank you, Becca, for doing By the Angel Along, because I have discovered like a new favourite series. Like I love it. I'm reading them all for the first time. I have these two very cool anniversary editions. I don't think there's anything too special about them, like they're just fancy covers and hardbacks. But it's cool to have them. They look nice. I love the designs, so yeah. What these special anniversary editions do have is a bonus story and a letter from Cassie Clare as well, so there's kind of that little bit of extra in there. But again, I can't really recall like what the actual Dark Art of Arceus series is about. It does follow on from the like Mortal Instruments, because the characters that are in it kind of crop in towards the end of the Mortal Instruments series, and I feel like if I give a synopsis of the Dark Art of Arceus, it will spoil the Mortal Instruments. I don't know. So yeah, but I don't particularly know what it's about other than it's going to be about Emma and Julian. I like to go into it blind and to surprise myself, as is the case with most of the books that I get. So this is like all of the books that I talked about in this haul. There is obviously quite a lot of them, but these are all like the final books that I've gotten in 2022 to talk about for you guys. So as I say in every haul video, let me know if you've read any of the books that I talked about today and what you thought of them and which ones you think I should pick up first. But I think that is probably it for this haul. It was a lot longer than I was anticipating because I genuinely only thought I was going to talk about my Secret Santa gift exchange books and the books that I bought just after Christmas, and then I remembered all of these. What can you do? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books. If you haven't already and you would like to be, please do consider subscribing. I post a new video every single week. And thank you so much again. I will see you very soon. Bye!